Well, hello, SNHU 107 students, and welcome to your Week 7 SNHU 107 Learning Community Webinar. This is Melanie Shop, your SNHU 107 LC gal, here to talk you through everything for Week 7, Module 7. First and foremost, your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is important to us. It is our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are aspects of instruction or course design that present barriers to accessibility, please notify the Online Accessibility Center, the OAC, as soon as possible at 866-305-9430. You can also email them at oac@snhu.edu or visit the Online Accessibility Center website. As a reminder, these SNHU 107 Learning Community webinars are in an academic space. Whether you are viewing them in Teams or you are watching them in our First Year Experience YouTube pages, or finding them from your classroom space or SNHU Connect, all of those areas are academic spaces here at SNHU, so always be mindful of your conduct. Also, last reminder, these webinars are not mandatory, they're not graded, there are not any extra credit points awarded. However, you will learn and have fun, and I sure hope that they have helped you complete your assignments from week to week. So I will be taking a minute to go over the assignment that you have for Module 7, but before I do that, I wanted to just check in with you because we are in week 7. So you have this week and then next week, week 8, and those are the final 2 weeks of your SNHU 107 course. So this is a great time to check in with you and yourself and make sure that you know how to finish this term strong and what you want to do for future terms that are coming up after you complete this one. So I always like to ask students, like, do you know how to assess yourself? Do you know how to take a minute and kind of check in with yourself and do that self-assessment? So some things that you do when you're doing a self-assessment is asking yourself those hard questions, making sure you stay positive, opening up the lines of communication, and taking action for your success. So what I mean by asking yourself the hard questions, those hard truths, right? We're going to find out the hard truth about ourselves, is take a minute, or I encourage you to take a few minutes, and really think about your term or these last 7 weeks here, and think about academically. Also think about personally and professionally, like what went really well. Like maybe you did a great job planning out your SNHU time and you felt organized and you got your assignments in on time. Maybe things like held together really well outside the classroom too, with you adding school to your schedule. Those are just some examples. But I want you to think for a minute about what is 1 or 2 things that like you did really well this term. And then think about like what are some things that maybe you could do better. For example, maybe you struggled with like your writing mechanics on some of your larger writing assignments or any of your writing assignments this term. Maybe you did a great job turning things in, but you were stressed because you waited until like the end of the week or the deadline. And maybe you want moving forward, you might want to work earlier in the week. So these are just some examples of like what went well, what could you do better? Maybe the classroom environment went awesome, but maybe at home you didn't have as much help as you thought you were going to have with taking on some responsibilities since you added in school. Like whatever it might be, like take a minute and think about it. Again, a couple things you did really well that you're really proud of. Couple things that you're like, ooh, I need to make some changes to make this a better experience for me to finish the term strong, but also going into the next term. And you also want to think about like, what can you do and who can help me? Because you're never in this alone. I always like to remind students that it's real easy for us sometimes to pick apart the things that we struggled with or we didn't do great with versus celebrating our wins. Okay. So I want to encourage you to be positive, no matter, celebrate those wins, but also the things that you might need to work on. Like, it's okay. You're not alone. You're not gonna be the first student that has to like organize their time a little bit better. You're not gonna be the first student that got overwhelmed. You're not going to be the first student that fell a little bit behind. Like, just be positive with yourself and pick yourself back up and keep moving forward because you are worth this degree and this journey. And you're not alone. So remember to communicate for your success. So if you have fallen behind this term in any of your classes, maybe if you've fallen behind, didn't turn some assignments in, this is the time to get with your instructor to see if you could maybe still submit that assignment, or maybe you struggled on an assignment. Could you maybe resubmit it for another look to earn some more points? They 100% can say no, but I like to say that the answer is always no unless we ask. So advocate for yourself and see if you could get back on track, submit any missing assignments, or redo some things that you might have struggled with, okay? So ask, reach out to your instructors, call them, email them. They want to hear from you. They want you to be successful in your class. maybe you submitted everything and you did good on stuff, but you just really struggled with like your writing mechanics or just kind of your time management. Like this is the time to set those appointments with your resources that you have here at the university that you have learned about all term long. Okay, so don't forget there's appointments. You can email the departments here at the university. A lot of people even text message some of your faculty text message. So check that My Instructor announcement, see if that is something your faculty do. Pick up the phone, give them a call. We want to hear from you, and all of the university resources here at SNHU have a phone number and an email address. So don't hesitate to reach out to advisors, the help desk. In addition to your faculty, do not be nervous to reach out to us. We want you to do well. Plus, reaching out to the SNHU academic support team, like tutoring and writing assistance. Plus, you have the learning community here to go back and watch any videos that you might have missed or need some extra guidance with. Like, remember, like today's the day and nothing changes if nothing changes. So take action for your success. Okay, so if you struggled all term with your writing mechanics, but you're not trying to make an appointment with the academic support team or trying to improve it somehow, it's going to stay the same. That's just a good example. If you didn't map out some SNHU time in your schedule, and then you don't do it again in future weeks or future terms, you're going to have the same struggles that bothered you this term. So let's make some changes. Let's be positive, one thing at a time. But just remember, like, what are you going to do about it? Because you're not alone here. You have a lot of support, and let's make sure we finish the term strong. I am going to take a quick minute and just run y'all through the final project example one more time. If you need a more detailed review of the final project and step-by-step, you want to go and look for the Week 6 SNHU 107 Learning Community webinar, because that is where I spent a lot of time breaking things down question by question, okay? However, for your Week 7 in your SNHU 107 class, when you go into Brightspace, as always, a couple things I want to point out, just in case you didn't know, you can click on academic support, and when you click on academic support, it pulls up the menu of all the services they have available to you. Drop-in tutoring, workshops, some more one-on-one options like academic coaching and peer tutoring. But this written feedback, this is a big one that is very helpful for your final project. You literally click on try it now, fill out a few questions about the assignment, and submit your draft, and they will give you feedback. It's a wonderful tool to use, and students will tell you they wish they would have used it sooner once they start using it, okay? The other thing is, for some reason, if you don't have Microsoft Word, you do get Office 365 for free as an SNHU student. So click on help, that little arrow, online student services, pulls up all the departments and people here for your success. Scroll down and follow the steps for Office 365 and other software. Okay, it's not too late to get that if you for some reason don't have that yet. Now, let's take a quick look again under Module 7 and let's see what we got going on. I wanted to point out under Module 7 that as you scroll through, you will notice you have this 7-1 discussion. It is a non-graded, so there's no grades associated with the Week 7 discussion. This is really just a space here for you to ask questions, maybe share some tips on how you're writing your final project, or like discuss some helpful time management strategies or motivational strategies that worked for you this term. It's kind of like an opportunity to share, what you learned from the class, what you thought about the class. Just remember, don't post any of your project or activities in the discussion thread in any way. This is just a space that's here. You do not have to utilize it, but it is here. And often you might learn a few things from your students, other students, about like how they did their project or something that was really helpful for them as they learn to manage their time with adding school to their schedule. Where you want to focus in is this 7-2 project, that academic success plan. Now, when you click on it, as a reminder, click on guidelines and rubric. And as y'all know, that opens up the whole project, right? It tells you why you're doing it. It tells you the directions. It lists every single question that's a part of that project. So make sure you scroll through it. Underneath what to submit, remember you have this academic success plan template. You can click the blue right here, consider where you want to go. You open it up and it's a blank template for you to fill in. I wanted to point out, and also you can find it underneath supporting materials, this project template. But I wanted to have kind of center you guys in on this project example that I want to run through, because it gives you kind of an idea of how you should be answering the questions. As a reminder, know how you're graded. Take the time to scroll through this project rubric all the way to the bottom, so you know how you'll be graded on your final project assignment. It's worth a lot of points. That's why I wanted to talk about it heavily in Week 6 early, so you can always go back and watch that webinar for a more detailed review of it, but I also wanted to run through it really quickly here in Week 7. So when you click on that project example, it's going to pull up this PDF document that's right here. You will notice that this is the template, but it's been completed. So this is actually, it's another student's work that let us share their work with all of you to kind of just give you a solid foundation and a framework for how your final project, that academic success plan, should look like. Remember, do not copy this verbatim. This is somebody else's work. You want to make sure that you answer the questions based off of your thoughts, your experiences, your feelings, okay? The biggest thing I want you guys to pay attention to is when you open up that template, you can type right in it. Make sure that as you're answering questions, you are answering all pieces and parts of the questions. For example, question number 1 has 3 different parts. So you'll notice that, for example, you're supposed to identify a problem-solving technique or method you have used in a previous situation and explain how it helped you. That's the first thing you're going to answer. Second thing you're going to answer, how might problem-solving methods be different in diverse cultures or fields of work? Last thing, how can effective problem solving help you in your academic journey? So notice there's 3 questions in question 1. The student broke it down in bullet points. They answered it first one, second one, third one. Okay. Same thing here. Question number 2. So pay attention to the details, y'all. Don't just run through it. Stop, read it, make sure you're understanding what it's asking. I don't want you to miss points. Question number 2, identify your learning style and explain how knowing or learning about your learning style helps support your success this term. So again, the student shared their learning style and then they answered how it helps support their success this term. Remember, you might be a variety of, you might have multiple learning styles. That's okay. Make sure you list them all. All right. And then you'll notice as you work through each question, you want to make sure you read the question and then you want to answer the question. All right. Writing complete sentences, share examples and details as helpful to make sure you are able to clearly convey your thoughts across to your instructor as they're grading it. Another area I wanted to point out is question number 5. You'll notice it says choose 2 SNHU resources. So what have we learned this term? SNHU resources are those departments and resources that are part of SNHU. Okay, so like faculty, instructors, academic support, the help desk, the learning community, those are examples. Again, they're the people here at SNHU. And then social supports, you're also going to pick 2 of those. Those are the people, places, things outside of the university. So your advisor is not a social support, okay? Your classmates are not a social support. They belong to SNHU, okay? So social supports are those like loved ones, like maybe your partner, maybe your best friend, maybe a work colleague. So you want to, of course, pay attention to the details, list 2 of them for each category, 2 resources, 2 social supports, and then explain the why behind it. Don't forget that part, okay? Questions 6 and 7 relate back to work that we did back in week 4, where you shared that personal academic mission statement and those 3 short-term academic goals. Make sure that those are here and listed. When you share your goals, make sure you have all 3. And then as you work through the rest of the template, again, you just want to make sure that you are sharing examples, you are writing a complete sentences, and you're sharing your thoughts as you work through the questions. The last question is one of my favorites. It's what was your biggest takeaway from this course? So basically, what was the top thing that you learned, whether it was a concept or maybe it was just a habit you put into place or something you learned from the course material. Like, this is a great way to share what you've learned here in SNHU 107. Okay. Again, that template, you just type right in it as you answer the questions. This example is here as a way for you to know how this should look when you turn it in, but also kind of some ways to answer the questions. I do want to encourage you, like if you open up the template and you're kind of like, oh gosh, writer's block, stuck, print off the empty template and then, physically pen and paper write in your thoughts and then go back and type it and then save it and upload it. Okay. So remember, if you get stuck, reach out to your instructor. They're the ones that are grading you. They'll help you the best. Also, you can always come back and watch these learning community webinars from this week or go back to week 7 with more details. Utilize the academic support written feedback services. It helps so much, y'all. I can't even tell you how much it'll help. And just remember, like, this is your project. So just take a deep breath, be yourself. And if anything, remember, y'all, you got this. You have been working on this all term long. So take a minute, take a deep breath, put it together. And if you get stuck, reach out and ask questions. You got this. Have a fabulous week 7 in SNHU 107. And I will see you all in week 8 to celebrate your success.